Really hope you like this video. It's about the affirmations that we use to get us through tough times and tough days. Things that have worked for us in the past that sometimes don't resonate with us now. Things that have actually grown in stature and made it more worthwhile to think about and to use in our daily lives and times when they are tough. This again is co-hosting with my sister, and I think you'll find that she is a wonderfully funny and deep thinking person. She comes up with some really great sayings, and one of the best ones I hope you'll find in this little clip is about don't let people walk through your mind with dirty feet. And that really sometimes sums up a lot of things that we get wrong in our lives, where we can be down on ourselves and then we let other people reaffirm that thing of self-worth and self-doubt. So it's about looking at those things when we're having tough times, looking at those things that keep us buoyant when we're actually looking for any light in the darkness. Really hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe, send us a comment, tell us what you think, tell us what really made it for you, and what things that sometimes resonated with you really strongly at one part of your life sometimes doesn't hold quite as strong. Anyway, I hope you really enjoy this. Remember to like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy this video.
So if we understand ourselves better, we damage ourselves less.
Oh, okay.
So you're understanding that it's okay to have some quiet time. It's okay. Like, I don't have to be out and about and and the being everything to everyone all the time.
Yes? Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And that's
so then we damage ourselves less. So we give ourselves permission, or we to be ourselves, or to do the things we need.
And for me, like, it's sort of understanding when you're bleeding a little bit, that you do need to recharge, to disconnect, as you said, in a way that makes that help. But I say, going back to your earlier point of like that manifesting, like, so one of your things was imagine your life the way you want it to be, and then what was the other one? Oh, that's right. So this one is interesting to me. If you're facing in the right direction, all you need to do is keep on walking.
Yeah, see that? Hang on, do you want to go first on whether that
No, you go first.
So that would have always resonated with me in the past.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, that's something that's like
the right direction one.
Yeah, I'm doing everything. I'm doing everything right, but there's no forward motion.
Oh, okay, right. Now I see it. Right, because that's why I thought that was an unusual one for you to feel.
Yeah, that was in the
right.
Yeah, that's in the what would have been.
What would have been? Yeah.
Would have passed. Would have resonated with me, and something I probably would have jotted down in the past. Be like, oh, that makes sense. That's that idea of putting your energy where it needs to go, where you want it to go, rather than being tangented off into all the. But now it's like, no, that feels like blame of, I am doing everything right, yet there's obstacles in my path that mean there is no forward motion.
Yes, so I'm actually doing the best I can, or even my forward is a little backward.
Yeah, well, my forward's a little bit, but it's it's through no fault of my own.
Yeah, no, totally. Like,
so
sometimes the best you can do is treading water.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So that one was in the not helpful.
Not helpful now. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's similar to similar, which is what you started with, which is you're nothing without your health.
Yes, that's just
And I said that really hit me as leisure, because as we said before, when you're talking to people and you're reimagining or reconfirming to them when they're having, everything else seems to be caving in around them, and you're reminding them of that basic concept of, if you have nothing else, at least you have your health. Whereas when you're coming at from your point of view, that becomes a rod to yet another rod to beat yourself down with, of a failing perhaps in your mind.
And not being able to find a way to be okay with what you have left. What's left in your world or in your life. Always seeking other things. So that very helpful, yet I don't think anybody really takes it on board, really. Does anyone, when they hear it, does
Oh,
anyone, that's, right,
mm,
okay, so unless they've seen it or witnessed it in others close
yeah,
to them,
maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
which I suppose most
yeah.
people have been touched by illness of some kind, but if it's not particularly close to them, they haven't got that concept. It's more that concept of like yours with an injury, might have a concept of injury and you return to hopefully close to
Yeah,
100.
you're still on the way back there,
Yeah.
whereas the long
Or
term,
recovery, I suppose, from,
yeah, so
recovery.
that's still under recovery, rehabilitation
Yeah.
or recovery. Even though it can be long, you're coming back to something.
Yes.
You're coming back from whatever the low was back up to something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether that something is anywhere near where you had before, or but it's going from a place of having sunk down to going. But okay, so in that comment there, is there blame? Do you blame? Have you blamed?
Myself?
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. You look at all the things that, no, not now. Let me qualify. I've learnt and learning to not do it now because I have, I know what I'm doing. I'm doing the best I can, each and every day.
Mm,
Sometimes that's not always putting my health first, but that's a choice I'm making. And on the
yep.
other days, but yeah, definitely in the past because you're told, it's because of you're not exercising enough, you're not
Oh, okay.
eating
Yep.
well enough,
The
you've got
stereotypical
too much
response
stress,
to
you know,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yep.
Um, you'll be told all these other things that whereas I addressed all those before I even, went to doctors. Addressed having a look at diet, I addressed having a look at, what was I doing exercise wise. Like I'd already actually done all that, but that's what you're told. Continue. So it's
Yes.
something about you or something in your something you're doing is the
Yes.
reason you. So you have to battle against internalizing that.
That those preconceptions of this is somehow
Figuring out what works, what makes you worse, obviously, but not then blaming yourself for the things that are outside of your control on a daily basis. Does that
so
make sense?
does that still well up, or you can drop that? So as soon as that inner voice comes up, you can drop it, or you can just recognize it
Most,
straight away.
yeah, mostly I can because I know. Um, it doesn't like. Yeah, it's very momentary. Like it's literally sort of, it slips in and out of my brain quite easily now, whereas before it would have stuck for a while and I would have had to bat it, like find other
Yeah, yeah,
cognitions
yep,
to get it
yep.
out.
So
No, it slips out pretty easily, yeah.
do you correct someone else though if they bring that thought process to you? So okay, so what? Okay, this is the one of the ones I love that we just said before, which was um where was it? I will this is the one of the ones that you were like, I will not allow anyone to walk through my mind with dirty feet. I mean, that is I thought of it in a lot of different connotations, but that is a beautiful statement. So if someone once again in their, let's be the generous side
Well-meaning,
of
we
it,
say
yeah,
well-meaning.
well-meaning generous side, rather than the patronizing side. Let's say they're well-meaning but naive, um, and have said to you, look at diet, look at, just get out and walk, go out in the sunshine, go and see another doctor, go and see,
Yeah.
have you the usual, have you sought a medical advice? Thing. so so do you, with limited resources of energy, because energy is your resource,
Yes.
do you put the effort into correction, or do you into that is too big a task for me? I've just got to I've got to understand that they have dirty feet, and that I'm
Yeah,
closing that
definitely.
door, or how do you think of it?
A lot of it, some of it is just genuinely well-meaning people who wanna the moment you tell them something, they wanna fix it or find a
Yep,
solution or tell you about
yep,
their neighbour's auntie's cousin who tried this thing and like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's it's very normal. Depending on my resources as to how I react. So sometimes I might try to counter it just a little, and just a little bit. And other
Yep.
times I don't really let it go. I don't, unless it's a complete stranger. There's no point, if it's someone I
Yeah.
know, I don't usually just let it pass anymore. But I don't also, which is kind of nice for me, I don't also feel like I have to justify,
Oh, okay.
or
Yeah.
like I don't have to justify may not be the right. I don't have to reason
No,
with
no.
them. They don't have to understand it completely, and I don't have to take on their judgment of what
So
it means.
that's a really important switch. Like, so when did that, or what help you lead to that switch of I don't have to correct them to make me be.
Uh, probably probably getting worn out from doing it. I think
Oh,
just
okay.
allowed, just getting worn out and worn down. But it's like, why am I? If they don't want to look into it or look it up or
Yep.
listen when I say no, no, I don't actually need any wellness tips. That's
Yep.
not a cure. I understand why you're giving me wellness tips, but that's actually none of that is a cure. Um, and I understand they've helped some people. Just literally being too tired, too worn out to keep saying it to some
Okay.
people.
Do you feel like you
And
should
then
have a
learning
little
and then you kind
QR
of learn
code?
like, yeah, yeah, and then you're like, oh, it's okay. I don't actually have to. I don't. I can give myself that kindness. I can be kind
Yep.
enough to myself to say
Okay.
it's okay. I have a right. Um, I have a right to self compassion, or I have a right to self care, no matter what they think of the
Okay.
situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or
Yep.
that thing of, for me, that you have a right to take up space. You don't have to earn it, so I don't have to prove it to anyone. I don't have to prove
That's
to
a very,
anyone.
yeah, that's a huge
Yeah, that was kind of
like
where my
it's sort of that subtext of self-esteem, but it's not
yeah.
really, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it's in the same ballpark as
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have to yeah, I suppose that maybe that nails it up. I'm enough. I don't have to prove to them how well or not I'm feeling on that day,
Yeah.
nor do I have to prove to them the ins and outs of my illness. It's just enough to say, "No, that doesn't work. That's not thank you, but no."
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So that comes back to that. Okay, so when did you learn to be kind to yourself?
still learning.
Still
Still,
learning.
it's a constant. Still a constant. But like I said before, it was more about sort of an umbrella concept of be kind to yourself, but then
Yep.
unpacking what that actually means to me. So, being kind to myself means being purposeful about self compassion.
Yep.
Instead of finding my purpose in all these other things, like I was searching for purpose
Yeah, yeah.
you
Yep.
in a million different ways.
Yeah.
And sort of the sicker I got, the more I wanted purpose. And I've got to find it. But it's like self compassion is purposeful. So that's kind of what. So under the umbrella of being kind, I had to unpack it to what does that actually mean?
So
I get to take
that is then also what directly rubbed up against the other one that you find unhelpful now. Imagine your life the way you want it to be.
yeah,
So that goes directly against
yeah,
that, which is what other people bring to you as well, though.
yeah. It's almost being kind enough to do the opposite of most other affirmations. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like being kind enough to be like, no, anything isn't possible for me, and I'm
Yep.
kind enough to. There are real obstacles in the way of
Yep.
all these things of manifesting your dreams and making things happen. It's like kind enough to do the opposite,
Of that.
to see yourself as you are, the reality
Yep.
of your situation.
Yep.
Um, it's not an excuse, and it's not a. Uh, it's
Yeah, you're
not
not
a.
wallowing in it going, well, was me, and oh well, that's.
No, not at all. Just the reality, like just as it is, what it is, and as it is.
So
If that makes
that I guess goes to that point, which is most extremely popular self-help and positive thinking resources are based on the premise that everything is possible. Any immovable object in your path comes, um, with that chronic conditions
sense.
that disappear with positive thinking, and that's sort of what we've been talking about longer term in terms of recognizing toxic positivity, which
Yeah.
is positivity is such an easy. It's a little bit like the American thoughts and prayers.
Yes.
That
Yes.
sort of pathway.
Oh, it's so prevalent, and it like I said, some things do resonate. If you hear, some platitudes or some, not so. I always laugh. There's a certain someone in my life who sometimes gets into saying "chin up."
Oh,
Like,
okay,
oh,
yeah,
chin up, and it's meant in the best possible way. It's meant in the absolutely best possible way, but it's that level of like, just move on quickly.
yeah,
Just it's okay, just move on quickly, which is what
yeah,
toxic positivity is about. Like, just immediately go to the, find the good in it, find the almost sometimes it's find the secondary gain, which not everything has a secondary. So trauma brings something to your, this trauma has brought a level of empathy to your life, or this challenge has made you understand humanity better. It's like, it doesn't have to always be a secondary gain. You may have found that anyway without having to go through hell first to get to the other side,
yeah,
if that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I tend to the toxic positivity. It's quite easy to let go of. I think now, like, as in, you just let hope. You let hope and positivity be tidal. So it's like an ebb and flow. Don't try to hold on to it really tightly as an ever-present mood. It's just a tidal feeling. It ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Okay. So then, what's then the one that sits in the most positive way for you generally?
I think probably it used to be "this too shall pass." Like, that was a
Yep.
really
Yeah,
thing for me.
I've found that
That
at different
not
times.
as
Yep.
not as evergreen for me anymore. It doesn't always used to
It's
be the
not
just
passing.
not working exactly. It's not passing now. That one doesn't. There's one. How that I don't know whether you use it with you might use it on yourself or others. Do you use no? What is it? No pain, no gain.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't. I've never been a big. There's always something that doesn't resonate quite strongly with me for that one, but I've heard it's been said to me.
Yeah,
I've certainly
I'm sure.
said it to
Yeah,
others, but it's not a big resonating one for me.
yeah. See, I always find people repeat that, especially when they're working up towards someone, and I get it. I get where they're coming from,
Yeah.
but I saw it in. I think she's a health educator, a science and health educator, and she said, turn it. When you've got something like a energy limiting illness, turn it around in to gain is to surrender, and
Oh, okay. Yep.
that worked for me. So to gain a little bit in my health, I've got to kind of surrender to it at certain points,
Right.
or know the balance between effort and surrender. So the times in which
Oh,
it's
okay.
okay to pursue, and the times in which you've then got to surrender. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a really good thought. Like, that's a really good thought. In terms of, um, because we are like, so for rehab, obviously, you're often, the effort you put in is not directly related to what comes out, but you're obviously hoping it's going in the right direction. Whereas you've actually got to think of it almost in an opposite sense, because part of you is protecting the energy that you have. Um,
Yeah, quite literally the opposite of what you're
j- so
doing.
so for in that sense, okay, for that sense, for me, when you're in that strong rehab type scenario, um for me to get through that period, I found what worked best for me, because I didn't have all I had was the resilience to show up and not much else. So I had to give accountability to others by doing a diary entry, like a booking in a calendar, to say I will show up then. I don't have any sources to do energy wise, and to give it anything else other than that, but I will show up. Like, and that help me be accountable. But I couldn't be accountable to myself because I'd just go, I'm too tired, I can't do it. And so that led me through, like, I knew that was my process in that way. So to protect yourself, the opposite almost, how do you have to be accountable? How did it work best for you in still being able to live your life, protect your resources, and be accountable for tomorrow? I just leave that thought with you.
Yeah, no, I just think, as you were saying, I was thinking literally the opposite. It's like, it's permission to say no to things
Yeah,
is
totally.
more what you've got to sort of drill into yourself is make plans, but then permission to say no allowing yourself to say no if you're not well that day, or you've had a bad night, or you just feel
okay. So to me, that the first thing I hear then is, but that you still allowed yourself to make plans, but then
yes,
confident with oneself to say no. Like, so you're hoping for the best or what's possible, maybe, but if it turns the other way, I will say no, whether that's 1 day out, 2 minutes out, 10 seconds out.
yes, exactly, like
Whatever.
last minute, and
Yep.
obviously let know that that's gonna, that may be the case. Like, but yeah, I tend to operate from
So
making
okay,
plans.
so
Yeah,
you
most
generally
people. Oh, definitely. I say to people,
yep,
I'm not sure, that's not definite, but
yep, okay,
hopefully, yeah. But
okay,
I have to make plans because what happens in one. I have to plan out a week to the extent of, so we're doing this today, so I need to not have any other plans for 3 days, sort of thing. So
yep,
I'll plan things in, but they have to be a week apart from each other.
yeah, yep.
Anything that's
No,
not
totally.
a big amount of energy. So yes, definitely plan, but always with the proviso of changing it, saying no, or leaving is the other one.
I do
If
that
you go
anyway.
somewhere,
I arrive somewhere and then leave. Just
like,
that's enough people.
it's a
That's
different
enough.
way.
That's enough peopling.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, yeah, I'm not. I guess I'm not very. I have to admit, I'm not as. I haven't practiced that enough. Just
So once you arrive,
because also it's also sometimes that you're feeling really unwell, like you're okay, and then
yeah.
you sit down and you're like, oh, I don't feel good,
Okay,
but then you
yeah,
can
I know that.
actually
Yeah,
get up to go.
yeah.
So you're like, oh, I
I've
feel good.
here now. Should I stay? Should I? Okay,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
I love that fact. Okay, but to me, what I hear is a very positive. I'm allowing to plan still. Where, like, so
Yeah.
if you're wallowing, or and I'm not saying you don't wallow ever. Um, maybe you do. I don't know. You,
I'm allowed. I am
I,
allowed.
you are like it. I wallow. So why can't you? Um, so, but see, to me that is is covered in positivity because you're allowing the plan. You're allowed,
Mm,
like, you're not just this is all I've got. I can't. There's a can't. Whereas, as you know, you could be 3 days out, not possible. 2 days out,
mm.
not possible. Half an hour out, yeah, maybe.
Really? Yeah,
Got
exactly. Yeah,
dressed, no, still not possible. Like,
yeah,
like, so
yeah.
that that
Yeah, the shower
that's
is the like, yeah,
yeah,
getting dressed.
exactly, exactly.
Oh.
And so that to me is still a lot more positive outlook. Like, that's a strong positive outlook on life, that you allow that and play it as it is, not
Yeah.
with a preconception of it. It must go one way or the other.
No, and I don't, and I usually, like I said, it's an ebb and flow, so it's tidal. Like sometimes you'll be very hopeful that it's going to happen, and other times, or and uh, very positive that I know I'm pretty sure I'll be right, and it can obviously be proven wrong,
Yeah, yeah.
and then possibly I won't want to plan anything for a little while, and it returns. Yeah, it flows back again, and you're like, no, I'm ready to try and make a plan and see if we can make that happen. And yeah, it
See,
doesn't have to. It's not the be all and the end. I don't make it the be all and the end all, I suppose.
no, that's okay. So
If I don't do that, yeah.
that's being very true like that to me, what I hear is genuinely true to yourself about an environment that you would think you would put just fortifications up everywhere, and yet you're not allowing that to be the case.
Yeah, I don't think that's my. So far, that's not my personality.
You
So
do like hiding in a cave
I
every now and
reserve
then,
the
though.
right. I reserve
Okay,
the
so
right.
so that flows to
That
me
quite
into
sounds
that
quite good.
that flows into me the really next bit, which is breathe in. I'll see myself as still water. Breathing out, I reflect things that as they are. Like that. That to me totally personifies what you've just been saying. Of I deal with the moment as it is, not.
Yeah,
And I try and drop. That's always hard. Like we don't, our unconscious biases. We don't realize sometimes what we're like. So to genuinely live in the moment and go, yes, I can. No, I can't. Or importantly, I will try, or
mm,
I will go, not now.
and that's okay. I think, yeah, the breathe. It all comes back to, yeah, seeing the reality and kind of sitting in it and knowing that you're okay to sit in it. Like even if I get really upset about I've missed out on something or too unwell, like I might get really upset in that moment, but I know that it'll pass, and
Yep.
I will. It'll eventually pass. But also, sometimes it's just enough to solve that moment. So what gets you through just that moment? That's
Hmm.
all you're responsible for.
Okay. Yep.
Whether in an hour's time I'm not still upset, or 2 days time, it's just this moment. How do I just get myself through this moment? That's sometimes all I put. Um, what's the word? That's all I make myself responsible for. Just that one moment, and then you get to the next and see how that goes. Works sometimes.
It's too strong for me. I can't deal with that moment. I'm walking away from that moment. That is such a that
Yes, you
to
do.
ground yourself so strongly like that, and to see the micro picture and the macro picture all at the same time, is that's a very, very, very enlightened enlightened way.
Just as you said that, this sounds like it's taking a lot of energy. Sounds like I need something
Yeah,
simple.
but I think that means you're not wasting energy on the emotions that don't matter. Like that, which
Yes,
is
yes.
that
Let
really,
them go.
like we all waste so much emotion on things that don't matter, which is easy to say, very hard to do. But that, so okay, so living in that moment like that draws to that other main one, which I certainly struggled with it at different times during recovery, and especially in our wonderful modern world where we are, connected in every single way, every single moment of every single scroll,
Yes.
by our phones, where time, and you would definitely, I assume, find this, that your time stands still and everyone else is racing forward. Comparison is the thief of joy, and I think
Yeah.
that green ugly monster of envy,
Yeah.
or comparison is sometimes it's like the green monster is obvious, and it's almost sucking the soul out of you at the time, and you cannot, like, it's just feeding on you, and other times it is just festering away to like to the other people in your life that you're snappy at them, or they haven't done anything wrong. They've just gone outside, like literally, and you couldn't. And
Well, how dare they go
exactly,
out
they
and do that?
they as we said earlier, they put their socks on without too much trouble. And
You mean you weren't in pain just then? What? What are you talking
exactly.
about? Oh,
um, so how did you deal? How do you deal with? Is that just a reminder thing for you?
about comparing to others.
Yeah,
I Yeah, I guess it is just how useless kind of it serves you no purpose. It serves you
yeah, that
absolutely
that utterly useless emotion, utterly
utterly useless. Yeah, it's
blood
poison in
sucking. Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
but yeah, more so for me, I guess it was more allowing yourself to be sad about something
Oh,
or
okay.
upset. but not compare, not comparing yourself to, this is my lot in life, that, I'm allowed to be as sad as I want about it, but not in terms of, green with envy about everyone else, because everyone's got something as well. That's
Yep.
like everyone's dealing with something. So you think you're comparing them against your life as if they're frittering around,
Yes.
flipping around about, butterflies and roses. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
no, that's something. There's always, no matter where you are in life, doesn't matter how amazing your life is or small or not great your life is, there's always someone better off, there's always someone worse off. You're no different to anyone else. It's all about perspective in terms of that, I think, and the privilege of you comparing yourself. Like, I have a house, I have a roof over my head, I have food in the fridge. Like, how dare I
Yeah, yeah.
not see that, not be grateful for
Not see
that,
those
really.
things. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, really.
That's
I mean, really, let's just, like, come
no,
on.
no,
It's
no,
like,
no, that's true. Like it is a very, very ugly, invasive emotion, but once you realize it is an emotion that will suck you dry, but if you just let it pass and leave it to the side, just
you don't like
do what you can do,
it
do what you're able to find whatever you can find, rather than, and
without
also
like,
most of the things as you said, like the most things you're comparison com, comparing yourself to
yeah, it's not
aren't
real
a
anyway.
aren't a real thing anyway. Like,
No,
you don't
no, we've
know.
made up that's, there. Even someone, um, like, even if someone is incredibly healthy and we see them hiking a mountain, we have no idea how much, say when you've been in pain, we've got no idea of the pain or what it took to get there, or things that may be going on in their head that
Yeah,
they,
it's going on,
yeah,
or they might be carrying grief. The reason they're hiking up there was to actually get away from everything. Like, it looks fantastic, but they're actually running slightly
yeah,
away
they're
from.
people mourning, yeah, and we're,
Yeah, yeah,
we're thinking that's
exactly.
great. No, it's
Um,
ridiculous.
no, that's so. So then, there are there any words that resonate for you on like in an affirmation way on a daily basis, or a sort of to remind yourself of things?
I guess that the two that sort of I have to say a little bit more regularly, because they're not quite in there yet. They're not quite concreted in yet. I'm trying to get them hardwired, but just that idea of, like, just engage in purposeful self-compassion, make it
Okay,
purposeful. So make what I
purposeful
do
self-compassion.
and the one sort of, taking up space without having to earn it. Um,
So
so
that's
without,
to self-worth as well.
yeah, it's about self-worth, but it's also about your product. We live in a society that values productivity at all times.
I see. Yeah, yeah, yep, yep. Okay, yep,
It's like, I don't, yeah, I can take up space without, um, having to prove I've earned my right to that bit of the world. This little place, my little place in the world. Whereas we're told it's all about, how much you earn, what you do,
yep.
how productive. So yeah, those two are sort of, I'm trying to
S-
cement them a little bit better.
So what's how does the first one? How is it? How does the rubber hit the road with that?
The purposeful self-compassion, do you mean?
Yes,
Or the yeah, no, that's just about, like
you
we
don't just
said,
light a
saying
candle
no.
in the corner and.
It's more about when, if somebody, say somebody asks you to do something that would be really great to do for them, but it
Oh,
will
okay.
cost you really.
Yep.
Something that's just, um, seems like nothing to, most, might seem like so little, and you really want to do it for them, because you want to help them in some way. Say if it's packing up a house, or you desperately want to help people
Mm.
and be there for people, but there are times in which you can't.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
So I guess it's just things like that. Just saying it's okay for me to be compassionate first to myself, and then obviously you
What is
as much as
possible?
you can with others when you can.
Yep.
that in itself is a purposeful goal, rather than being, to set more goals,
Do,
so.
does that mean you had to revisit? This is so. This is how it worked for me a little bit in a slightly different context. But did you have to revisit what empathy meant
Oh,
or
definitely,
compassion meant?
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I had no concept of, well, passing concept of self-compassion,
yeah,
or
yeah, yep,
not empathy for others, but empathy for yourself. Oh, definitely. And to, yeah, unpack all that and find a way to anchor yourself in it when it's not about others. It's
yeah.
not about
Okay,
what you're doing for others or showing, or, um, uh, yeah, how to anchor it within yourself is that's taken ages. A surface level you connect to it, but actually making it a part of who you are is very different to
yeah,
just on a surface.
yes, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Saying the words
yeah,
and superficially even doing the deeds, but not
yes,
actually.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
superficially doing it. But when it comes to the actual crunch, you're not, when it comes to things that are going to make you uncomfortable, you're not setting any boundaries for yourself or others. Yeah, so being, uh, knowing that you're going to be uncomfortable and still doing it.
yeah,
You're going to be uncomfortable say no to someone.
yep. Which is a big. That's a big thing.
Yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable, but it will pass. Like, it will
Yep.
pass. And obviously, if they're, someone who values you, they will be accepting of that. And that's
Yes.
understanding that if they value you, then that's enough. You don't have to actually explain it. You don't have to, make them understand it fully. If they value you, they accept you at your word. That's not something you can do today. Does that make sense?
No, no, it totally makes sense. And that leads me to probably one I want to wrap up on, which is, and this certainly took ages to come. Um, the full concept of this, even though it's quite, it sounds quite forward. Um, our strength looks different.
Yeah.
Like that to me, and that's similar to me for how I used to conceptualize courage. That courage had to be that big moment of, leaping over a trench and going forlornly into
Yeah,
a machine gun fire.
that's what exactly
That yeah, that's so that's so
adding a
so that
horse in it.
yeah, exactly. So that's and when you wrote me the list and I saw that, you know just almost at the top there, that really hit
Stood out.
home.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that really hit home because that's been a on many different levels a big journey for me.
Mm,
That strength and courage,
mm,
can be lots of different things in lots of different ways in lots of different moments. Um,
yeah,
and like just saying what you said then, like the courage to say no, the strength to say no is actually in the better run for you in the moment going to be a much better, rather than either feeling you need to fulfill other people's needs, or
yeah,
feeling it's expected of you, or the only way I have self-worth, or the only way I'm proving I can be in this place is by doing the thing, rather than actually the strength and courage is to say no.
yeah. I'm really glad that one stood out, because that one, I wasn't sure whether it would, because it seems so simple, but yet it
Mm,
resonates a lot, because it's just, we had a idea of what strength looks like, or what constantly, that resilience, constantly bouncing back. You bounce back, and
yes, yeah, yeah, gotta bounce back, gotta bounce back.
yeah, got to bounce back. It's like, no, my strength doesn't look like usually what we've been conditioned to see it as.
Yep,
Even in the context of just a fit and healthy person, that's strong, as in physically strong, let
yep,
alone emotionally. But yeah, no, it looks vastly different to what you expect, and you have, when you say to people, you're stronger than you realize, it works as long as you see strength differently.
Yes, 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 yes,
Yeah. As
yes,
long as you
very
kind
much
of
so.
shift what your idea is of it, absolutely, you know, everyone is stronger than they realize.
And
Really.
that's that same concept for me. Like I saw, I can't remember. I'll have to try and leave it in the notes. There was a YouTube clip, TED Talk rather, and he was talking about the prison that we hold in our own mind. You know, if you free yourself from that, and that's that whole like if you like a lot of those really good things, what sometimes means to you at a certain age is something that means something else. Like that, our strength looks different. Like that, if you'd said that statement to me 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, they would have all been slightly different concepts of that same thing. Um, and I guess this one is slowly becoming to a deeper, more broad, and yet more encompassing um, level, um, which encapsulates also compassion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, compassion. Yeah, it does actually. I hadn't actually thought of it, but yes, when you say that statement, it does incorporate all of the above. All of the above. Which is great. No, but honestly, I wasn't sure whether that would, because we've had such a hard and fast rule of what, and you've fought back in a very, the ways in which you've had to recover is that very traditional of building yourself
Yeah.
back up again. And yet, like you said, putting on the socks was a day that was like amazing. Like, but that looks so different to what you would have ever thought was,
Yes. Yeah, yeah, totally. Totally. So
um,
so when so for me, as I say, during rehab periods of rehab, putting on socks was the greatest strength I could have. What's something that is like that for you? What's a similar
oh, see, it's so different on, because my health fluctuates so
so
greatly.
much? Yeah.
I don't actually, there isn't really a set one thing. It's just sometimes it's the strength to, I don't know if this will make sense, maybe. The strength to find the small things that are still,
Oh,
like,
okay. Yeah, yeah.
you know, the strength to literally just find a bit of solace in a piece of music, or a song,
So the strength
or
to stay open hearted type thing.
yeah,
Is
the
that what you
strength
mean?
to stay open-hearted, or the strength to stay grateful, or to look at the things
Yes.
around you, like,
Yep.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
me.
I know. That's a tough one.
Or to not compare yourself, the strength to, like, not
Yeah.
be, envious, or, wanting, desperately wanting. So, yeah, those probably, maybe that's probably on a daily basis. On a daily basis, it's just my strength looks like I finding ways to be okay with where I'm at.
Yeah.
Um, it's not easy, but that takes strength.
See that that's in a weird way. Like so that that sounds like so that if you literally just join the conversation, then you would go that surely that comes into the same level of positivity, which then goes into toxic positivity. But this is much more
Uh,
fundamental from the
yeah.
heart, from the where your being is wanting to be drawn down, or this is for me, wanting to be drawn into a darker place, but you're allowing the switch of open-mindedness, open-heartedness to go, this is what I can do. This is only me for me. Only only this is what I can do. This is what's possible. This is everything in my moment. And if I then look out my window and go, that bird sitting
Yeah,
there
that
eating the grass, whatever. I hadn't realized how green it was, but but it's not the beating of the stick. Oh, you must find the bird and see the
oh,
tree,
no.
or yeah,
No,
like
absolutely.
you're
Yeah, no.
actually it's a slower. It's letting your mind find
Yes,
whether it finds the bird or not. Um,
yes.
it's just looking around in a quiet place, not in that I think toxic positive is demanding to find positivity. Whereas the other way,
That's
you're looking at it as a much softer. I'll allow it to come in. I'm not blocking from it, and but I'm also not demanding it to be there to prove
and
I can be
yeah,
positive.
and not that has to be, not that toxicity of that has to be everything to you, and that has
Yes.
to lift your spirits in a way that,
Yeah, and I've
you
ticked that
float
box off
on
as
through
well.
the rest of the day and
Yeah.
everything. And no, it's just it's a literal, it's a millisecond, it's a moment.
Yes. Yeah, totally. It's funny how a
Yeah,
fleeting moment that is allowed to
yeah,
come in like that and be embraced can
yeah.
hold you for so long. It's quite amazing.
And it's also that you can be in the depths of sadness or grief. What's that saying that's like the um there's a really good one. It's just about the beauty of suffering, and I don't mean that as in there's a secondary
Yeah,
danger.
yeah. I don't. Oh God, I can't quite remember it
Um,
either, but I know what you mean. Yes.
but it's just you can see there is beauty in all of our emotions. So I'm
Mm.
allowed to, strength is both being sad, and seeing, something beautiful outside your window. Like it's both. It doesn't have to be all and everything,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be something like you said you search for and it has to has to happen
Yeah. I
to
have to
get
tick
through.
it off.
If it happens, I see it, and I think that's wonderful that I can still see it, and hopefully that continues. That you still see those moments. Let me know if it doesn't. You'll have to know things go the other way. Like you have to rely on
that's
others sometimes.
that's for everyone online to leave a comment if you found that.
No
Actually,
more
that will be
positivity.
interesting to see if people do leave comments on that particular moment, like that where you're allowing positivity to be open to it rather than reaching for it and ticking it off. And that
No,
subtle,
and not
really subtle
yes,
difference.
and
So yeah,
not
that'll actually be quite.
for me, not holding on to it, not grasping it.
Yes,
Just letting it.
strangling it.
Yeah,
You
it's
can't
an
let
ebb
it
and
go. Yeah,
flow. Yeah. Don't grasp it. Well, for me, I'm not saying that's not for
yeah.
other people, but just for me, just not grasping it, just witnessing it, and then moving on.
No, that's really lovely. See, I would have thought. Thank you as always for doing this. It'll be interesting to see the comments, and make sure you address them to my sister Gretchen Netterfield, who's
What I said about saying no, that's a no.
any complaints.
Boundaries.
As always, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.